Welcome everyone to Jackie's on the Reef. I am so honored to be sitting next to Andrew Steve, a shaman from Scotland who has just finished a workshop here at Jackie's on the Reef. A workshop, a ritual workshop really, for death and rebirth. It has been the most amazing experience for me and all of his group that was here with him. Everybody is gone, and me and Andrew are here to just talk to you and just be happy and joyous for what a wonderful, wonderful experience. Andrew, it's so wonderful having you back at Jackie's on the Reef.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my joy. 4 times. This is my 4th time, and I've already organised to come for a 5th in 2 years' time. 5 is part of, in my heritage, it represents sovereignty, and everything is about being in sovereignty with our own hearts, with the land, with all beings seen and unseen, because we're connected. All beings are our sisters and our brothers.
Wow.
And one of the challenges I've seen in life, Jackie, is we have a lot of prefabricated joy, forced joy, and a lack of authentic joy.
Absolutely.
And what this work brings us to is to meet ourselves, to have the courage to go into our own shadows, to take the light there so that we can glow more brightly. We literally rebirthed ourselves here on the reef. And for my own journey, I've literally taken a giant leap in my own evolutionary process. It has been phenomenal, both personally, planetary, and to see and witness the growth in those that attended. And you experienced that. Well, let me ask you, when the song that sings us, in my tradition it's called Amram, it's spirit song, or as I like to refer to as DragonSong. When we don't know what the words are, we don't know what the tune is, we get out of the way and we fill that cave. We place so much authentic joy into the waters, into the rock beings, into each other's hearts, into the spirits of that cave. It was a phenomenal process, and I know that was a profound experience for you. So share with everybody what that was.
First of all, we're talking about Roaring River, which is in Westmoreland. And the cave that is in Westmoreland is just unbelievable. When I first came to start building this, I was on my motorcycle at least every other week, riding my bike to this cave. There was no lights in that cave. I couldn't quite understand why I was so drawn to it. But eventually I recognized and I was told, first of all, there was a mermaid that was the keeper of that particular cave. And the water is so powerful. And so I just love going to this cave. But this ritual that Andrew had directed or introduced, or whatever you might say, this particular ritual was so powerful that I had been lost, I would say, for about 2 years, 2 to 3 years, questioning myself, wondering what was my goal, what was I supposed to be doing. And just this ritual kicked me back in, and I feel very strong again. So I'm so grateful, Andrew, for this experience. It was just phenomenal. But then I just want to go one more step. So last night, they did the ritual of birth on the water. And I was up on the veranda, and all of a sudden I see these pelicans. There were 12 pelicans kept flying overhead, flying back and forth. And I'm saying, what the hell is that? You know, I have never seen that many pelicans. Usually you see 1 pelican or 2 pelicans, but 12 of them. And they kept passing, going back and turning around and coming back. And I said to myself, what caused that? Then with their drumming, which was a part of the ritual, I recognized that maybe the sound of this drum brought the fish in, and the pelicans were just so joyous. They kept on diving and swinging back around and coming back. So the fish was a death, and the pelicans were rebirth. It was just an amazing experience.
It was phenomenal. I've never seen the pelicans come in like that. What I said to the group, because that piece, we built a spirit boat. That's a huge piece of honoring the displaced souls, the beings that have been trapped and haven't crossed over. And it initially was what brought me to you and to Jamaica was my great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather, who I don't know, who disowned my grandmother when she was born. She was illegitimately born in Presbyterian Scotland in 1914, and her father was a Scottish laird, and so he had a dalliance with with a weaver in the mill, and left her pregnant, and so my grandmother grew up with a lot of shame. It was beautiful to really work with that piece of breaking the patterns of shame in my own ancestry.
Wow.
With the release work that we did here. But that ritual that we worked on the point, we open up a portal for any lost souls, any displaced souls, to go home if they choose to. We don't coerce them. There's an opportunity for them. And so we hold that space, and we have a burst of the sorrow to recognize the pain and the anguish, and we shift it, because it's all about transmuting. And we went into authentic joy. So not only was the drum speaking to those pelicans, the song was going into the waters, into the earth, into the air, from the fire of our hearts. And of course, we're working with the sun as it kisses the sea goodnight. And what I said to the group was, well, maybe there were fish who were ready to go home, and they literally came to feed those pelicans so that they had life force, and the fish then went through that portal. It was beautiful. And then not only do we have the pelicans and such a glorious sky as we worked that ceremony, after we'd finished and we stepped away, out came the moon. We worked new moon energy this week, and we had a fire that literally we were celebrating at 2:05 in the morning, the zenith of the moon, singing into the Dragonlines of the earth, the energy grid of the planet. So when we finished, there was the moon in its crescent, and yet you could see all around it. And then, of course, above the moon were two planets, Jupiter and Venus, and it was almost in alignment to where the sun had literally kissed the earth, and there's the moon. And this whole journey for me, for the last, oh goodness, how many years, I call it owl and eagle medicine. And it's the balance of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine within our own bodies and within the bodies of this planet. I have fully embraced my name. My name, Andrew Steed. Andrew means strong, manly. Steed means horse, and the horse in my tradition is the goddess who is sovereignty. So my name means the strong, manly goddess. And that is the balancing of my own masculine and feminine energies. When Winston took us to the school, because I took books that I'd written for Joy of Fairies to the Unity School, and when I took those, here are the books, fabulous books.
These are his books.
Yeah, they were written during COVID. I wasn't able to go with people out on the land and do the work.
Okay.
So the fairies literally came to me, camped in my house, and shared stories. And the illustrations in these books are absolutely
Fantastic,
beautiful.
fantastic.
Beautiful. But it was lovely to go to the school and to present these so that Jamaican children are going to tune into Joy of Fairies and the mischievous adventures of Acorn and Sting. But there was the energy of children is always wonderful anyway. So they were vibrantly and very interested in the three of us. It was the three men from the 5 women stayed back here. The 3 men went to the school because they were going to take some photos of me, and David got some beautiful photos. The kids would come up to me, and years ago it might have been like, oh, but I've embraced it so much, and they said, are you a man or a woman? And I went, yes I am.
Yes, I am. All of the above. My dear, you know, I want to go back to something because the souls of that were probably had not transferred or have not gone on in the waters out in front of where we are is the Caribbean Sea. And this was the passage for the slave ships. And Malidoma Some, who is an African shaman, has done 7 retreats here. He has gone on to the ancestors by now. But what happened was one of his clients was having a problem. She was coming from an African descent, and she was to be installed. But every time she needed to go to Africa, something happened and she couldn't get care. So Malidoma sent her here to do a ritual to open up that portal for her to be able to go back in the passage back to Africa. Well, we did that work, that ritual on the water. And for at least a month, I would see spirits rising out of the water. Because the whole thing for her was to ask for forgiveness. And for these spirits that had come, that had been taken out of Africa and brought to the Western civilization and didn't make it, either jumped overboard or was thrown overboard. These spirits that were lost was to return back to Africa. And it's so amazing how your retreat kind of like crossed it right back into the dovetail right back into an African situation. I'm just, this is just amazing. You know, life just keeps on going, and you just don't know where it's going to go, where it's going to take you. But you know what? It takes you right to the heart.
And trusting spirit and really being in your heart and being in your roots, being present.
Yes.
And it really was my calling. I went and led a wild hunt retreat where we sweep clean the worlds and we sing home displaced souls. That happens in October, what we call Samhain in the Isles. It's the beginning of the dark half of the year, and we light a fire, we work outside around it, we work with the song that sings us, the Amran, and it's always a beautiful ceremony. I was invited to go to Barbados to work on a plantation to help shift pieces.
Oh, right.
But what was important to me was, of course, all of those displaced souls that came out of Africa. There was also so many displaced souls that came out of the British Isles who were placed in servitude, who, like me, are very lily white. And thank goodness you've got coverings, because I don't do well in the sun. And so a lot of my ancestors who also died on the passage over, and then just like those in slavery were put into harsh conditions. And sometimes when we live a harsh life, we can get stuck in the resentments and the anger and the frustration.
Absolutely.
And then when the person passes, when as some people would say, well, they're dead. However, death only happens when it's celebrated. And so some beings, they physically have no life force in their bodies. However, the spirit gets trapped because it's still caught in the anger, the frustration, the unforgiveness, and we can even be tethered by other people relatives who love us and yet can't let go of us. And so some beings, not just human beings, you can look at a tree being. The tree isn't told it's going to be cut down that day. And so many people, they don't just cut the trees down, they demolish them. And so all of these souls that weren't expecting it, weren't ready, they get stuck. Yeah. So it's why this work isn't a one-shot deal.
No.
You come again and again and again, and you weave that magic. You open a safe space and a portal for those beings to be honored with the full celebration of death. Because once death has been fully celebrated, new life flows through. Because as you and I both know, Jackie, when we're no longer in these bodies, it's the beginning of a new adventure.
Exactly. Yeah. There to go. But you know what, Andrew, this is very interesting, this whole conversation, because right now on the planet Earth is in a major crisis for moving forward. And this crisis is, it's a cleansing. It's opening the heart and being loving. And it's the only way that we're going to be able to move forward and just live our lives. So it's perfect timing for this particular conversation, because Earth is not in trouble. It's the human race that's in trouble. It has nothing to do with the Earth. Earth's going to take care of itself. If the humans on this planet do not wake up and recognize that, I don't care if he has a green toe and a purple ear, we're all one. Bob Marley sang it very, very easily. We are one on this planet, and we have to recognize, let go of the anger and the fears and the judgments, and just be happy and be glorious, because you have so much to live for. What a wonderful experience.
One of the participants, and he's going to record a piece for me because it was profound for him. He works in the corporate world, very successful leader in corporate industry. His wife has been working with me for several years, and he asked her before they came, because she said, I'm going to Jamaica, do you want to come? He said, oh, I'd like to go to Jamaica. What are we going to do there? She said, I don't know. He said, who are we going with? He said, well, Andrew's going to lead us there. Oh, well, that's good, because he knows me. And he said, well, what are we going to do, though? She said, I don't know. Andrew has it in hand, and it will be fabulous. Well, David came and he put his heart into the circle. And one of the things that I work with is the healing medicine. To get in touch with, and you don't have to know what it is, but that vibration of the anger, the resentment, the sorrow, the fear. There's so much fear on the planet. The rage.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on and on. These jagged strands are stuck. So we let them out. However, there's no point in letting the sorrow out unless it's transmuted. And so that's where people can learn from someone like myself, because I hold the space, and I held the space for David. He went through a group keying, and he got stuck. He wasn't able to get in touch with his rage. So I noticed that.
I did too.
So I said, David, let me take you out tomorrow, and we'll get you there. So the next day we went out, and he followed, because he said, I know it worked because I witnessed it in you. I saw how smoothly you connected the bridges of sorrow and joy, and you transmuted that where they met. And I wasn't sure whether you were in sorrow or joy. It kept shifting until it was full of joy. And I witnessed the peace come through in the same way. He wasn't able to do it in that first instance, but when I took him on his own, I helped him to meet himself in that space. And here's a corporate man saying, yeah, way outside my comfort zone. And now he says, I have a real heart understanding of what that medicine is. And all of my sisters and brothers in the corporate world, they really need to meet someone like you to experience this and be held with this safe space so that they can create space within their own bodies, which allows us to be more authentic, to work with integrity, and to connect with our creativity. It opens us up in so many beautiful ways.
Wow, that is so amazing. And you know, so many souls need to be opened up and to recognize that they are beautiful.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with no one. We created. What, you wake up in the morning and you say you ain't nothing but a piece of shit? Guess what? That's what you have. That's what you'll end up by the end of the day. You will be just that big pile of shit. So, you just have to.
It's all about transmuting the shit into fertilizer.
Oh, there you go. Oh, and then from fertilizer to plants.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
joy
Yeah.
of eating the callaloo
Yeah.
or whatever. Oh my God.
Jackie, it has been a real pleasure from my heart to your heart. Thank you for this sacred space. And people, if you're watching this and you'd like to work with me, you get in touch with me. My email is asteed@andrewsteed.com. Steed spelled like the horse. If you want to get hold of Jackie, go on the internet and look up Jackie's on the Reef. Whether you work with me or you come and you spend some time here with Jackie, you are going to connect with a very sacred, special, safe space. I'd love to see you, whether it's wandering the lands of Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, on pilgrimage with me. And of course, this is a pilgrimage, and if it's your calling to come on pilgrimage with me here, I would be blessed to share a heart space in a real, authentic way with you.
Well, thank you, Andrew. This has been you're amazing. And, you know, when I grow up, I want to be like Andrew, you know.
This lady, right, yeah, incredible. I've been 4 times, and every time I've looked at the elders in our group, and Pat and Margaret. Margaret's now 82, Pat's 79, you're 84. And I've always said, these 3 women are such powerful role models because my mum and dad are your age, and they have trouble walking to the bathroom to get upstairs. And you're crawling in caves in the tiniest little spaces. Bless you, Jackie. Bless
Well, thank you.
And long may we continue this dance together.
Thank you. Bless it.
Thank you. Shah.
Sure.
And as for the profound visitation of the 12 pelicans, here is a brief synopsis of the spiritual meaning of this sacred bird. Pelicans are instinctive nurturers and are first and foremost symbolic of sacrifice and generosity. These birds can prick their own chest to feed their babies their blood for nourishment, which is an act so pious it makes them almost divine. In some cultures, pelicans are also symbolic of the afterlife and are known to protect the deceased souls on the path to the underworld. Let me read that last piece again. Pelicans are also symbolic of the afterlife and are known to protect the deceased souls on the path to the underworld. When our hearts join together in a sacred way, in an authentic way, magic happens.